What goes on in my house stays in my house are the words that we always heard growing up. Those words alone have caused long term pain and hurt and a whole lot of brokenness throughout our adult lives. Hi, I'm Katie, and you're tuned in to Katie Talk One on One. I'm Katie, and I'm talking. And today I am talking about the long term side effects of child abuse. The long term side effects of child abuse. A lot of time you probably seen people throughout their life that have very, very, very self destructive ways. And you may look at that person always getting high, always got a bottle in their hand. Every time you see them, they're drinking, they're smoking, they're looking for their next fix. Most of the time, but not all the time, it stems from pain. It stems from pain that they are trying to hide through the substance abuse, through the alcoholism, all of the alcohol and substance abuse that they're walking around with, usually because they're trying to drown out and smoke away their problems. And it just pains me when I see this. I'm going to get off into the top side effects that child abuse causes long term into adulthood. So you're tuning in to Katie Talk One on One, and here we go with number one. The number one side effect of long term sexual, mental, and child abuse, the number one effect is they may be an abuser themselves. Yes, they will carry on the dysfunction of abuse by becoming abused themselves. If you're familiar with the situation of the R. Kelly story, it came out that his sister not only sexually abused him, but also his brothers and some other family members. The child that was abused usually turns into a adult that will abuse someone else. Not with everybody, but with some. Everyone takes in things differently. Everyone reacts to things differently because we are all different. No one is the same. Number two, a big side effect on into adulthood, the side effects from child abuse. Number two, physical health problems. A lot of them have physical health problems on into their adulthood, stem from the trauma of the child abuse that they took on, whether it was verbal, whether it was sexual or physical. A lot of them grow up with physical issues. Another thing, mental health issues. A lot of people in their childhood that have been sexually, mentally, and verbally abused usually grow up dealing with some type of mental issue. Those are statistical facts, and you can Google it yourself. As a matter of fact, you can go to my Facebook page, YouTube, and I will be uploading the side effects from child abuse, the long term side effects on into adulthood. I'm going to upload that on my Facebook page. So go to that and check it out, YouTube. Another one, going off into the side effect of number three that stems from sexual mental abuse as a child, suicidal behavior. A lot of times you'll see a child that's steady battling with themselves and they're going through stuff, a teenager or somebody even younger, 9, 10, 11, and they're suicidal. You know it had to be some trauma that happened to that child or that person that want to kill themselves. A lot of them grow up and go off into their adulthood and still struggle with these suicidal feelings because of the abuse that they took. And somebody out there probably knows somebody in their family right now that went through that child abuse and later on became suicidal. And they're at the hospital because they tried to take a lot of pills or they tried to shoot themselves or they tried to cut their wrists. And everybody in the family is like, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know what's wrong with them, knowing damn well what goes on in my house stays in my house has always been embedded in that child's head. So they have suppressed that anger deep down, trying to get rid of it. So they want to kill themselves because they feel like they were the victim and they were the cause of them getting abused. Going off into, I believe that's number 4. A lot of them, a lot of kids who have been abused when they were younger usually grow up with some type of eating disorder. They overeat or undereat, and a lot of them tend to go into obesity, being overweight because they're trying to drown and eat their pain away. A lot of them are trying to eat their pain away from the child abuse and the hurt and the sexual abuse and the mental abuse that they received when they were younger. Because a lot of them feel like it's their fault. And that is why I believe the eating disorders, the alcoholism, the drug abuse, and substance abuse usually comes about in adulthood. And before I go off into the number 5, I just want to say this. If you ever endured any type of abuse when you were young, it is not your fault. You do not have to abuse yourself. You do not have to kill yourself. You do not have to walk around with that anger and pain on your back because it was not your fault. Always remember that. Going into number 5, another side effect that child abuse creates in adulthood is aggression, violent behavior, criminal like behavior. They usually grow up, like I said, to be an abuser to someone else, or they grow up with so much anger they end up killing somebody, they end up beating somebody. One thing about it, it was not your fault. A lot of us walk around with so much pain. And I just hate to see it when there's a family and they've had a child in that family that has had to deal with and carry the pain of being sexually abused. And it usually was coming from mama's boyfriend or that man that mama brought around that they used to call uncle, or it probably was a family member. And grandma said, I don't want nobody in my family to have that stigma on their name. That's going to make us look bad. So therefore, you carried that pain around all of your life. And then you carried it around for so long, you started feeling like it was your fault. So you start getting high. You start acting out sexually. You start acting out violently. And you take that same pain to someone else that you went through. A lot of people that's walking around here angry and bitter, hurt, they burden is heavy because of the child abuse that they went through as a child. I will never allow somebody to say what goes on in my house stay in my house. Because what went on in your house, if it hurt me, if it's causing me to be suicidal, addicted to drugs, I'm a pill popper, I'm shooting up, I may end up a person that may end up sexually abusing another person. If all of that could happen to me, I will tell whoever I need to tell to free my soul. And I don't give a damn who may have anything to say about it. Because I will not walk around with pain that was inflicted unto me because the person that was supposed to be protecting me allowed the monster to come in and violate me. So those who have ever went through child abuse, please, like I said before, it is not your fault. You free yourself. You put down that drug. You put down that alcohol that you think is going to drown out your problems. You put it down because it is not your fault. Stop hurting yourself. You deal with what you went through. no matter who you may have to speak to about it. Please hit me up on Instagram at LadyLoveK. Hit me up on Facebook at Katie Austin. And follow me on YouTube, Katie Space Talk One on One. I'm Katie and I'm always talking. I love you. Make sure you subscribe. There's much more to come. Love you, YouTube. See you next time.